What's up guys, welcome to another review. This is going to be talking about my favorite pair of wireless noise cancelling headphones on the market right now. These are the Sony WH-1000X M2s. Terrible name, great headphones. Let's get started. So when I say wireless noise cancelling headphones, most of you probably think Bose, which is actually pretty reasonable. That's not very uncommon, but when I switched over to Sony's, I realized how many things Bose didn't do that Sony did in their second generation and by extension now their third generation. Now the headphones that I'm reviewing are the second generation of headphones, and I will say right off the bat, if you're looking for a pair of new wireless headphones, go with the M3s. They are just enough of an improvement when it comes to build quality, padding, and materials that they are absolutely worth the upgrade. But if you're looking for something that is a little bit on a discount, you can find it a little cheaper, either used or just because they're not being made anymore. These are also a really good option. Before I get to, of course, the noise canceling, there's a couple things that support the actual use of these headphones that is extremely nice. So if you all watched my Beat Solo 3's review, you remember that I mentioned that the padding is absolutely necessary in most headphones when you're going to be wearing them for a very long amount of time. And these headphones nail it. They have some of the best padding around the ears and over top of the head, which means that for long periods of time on longer flights or just generally long listening sessions, they will remain extremely comfortable. The padding takes forever to bottom out, so no matter how long you're wearing them for, they are going to be a very comfortable set, and even when they do bottom out, it actually really isn't that uncomfortable. It's more of the heat of just you wearing headphones for a long period of time that will eventually kind of get fatiguing. The build materials are nice. I actually like the M3's build quality a little bit better. They went with a more smooth design with some accented colors like the gold that they put on the black version, just because that smooth material feels a lot better to me. The rough sort of fake leather on this is fine. I don't really mind it. It gives it a sort of a cheaper feeling texture though, and I'm kind of not about that. And on that rough texture is a touchpad. On the right ear, you have a touchpad for volume up, volume down, forward, back, and play pause. But for some reason, every time you press a button on the side, it beeps at you, whether it's volume up, volume down, fast forward, rewind, it always beeps at you, and it is the most irritating thing that I wish I could just turn off in the settings, but apparently not. And speaking of settings, there is an app you can download for these headphones that lets you go in and change things like what direction it feels like the sound's coming from, which is sort of gimmicky, a sort of special effects equalizer, which makes it sound like you're in different environments, which is also kind of gimmicky, an equalizer, which I'll talk about in a minute, the controls for the ambient noise, which you can control through a button on the back of the headphones, but you can also control directly through the app. And there's even an auto mode, which I tend to leave off just because while it is pretty good, it beeps and makes a very weird chime sound whenever it goes to adjust automatically. And then there's just little things here and there like running firmware updates, which the most recent firmware update for these gave you the option to either make the ambient button an assistant button or just leave it as the ambient button, which I don't use Google Assistant or Alexa, so that's fine. A couple little things that irritate me with these headphones though. It does come with a 3.5mm jack, which is fine if you're still using headphones, but for some reason, when you plug those in and it switches to them, you unplug them and it turns the headphones back off. I don't know why it does that. I kind of just wish it would switch back into Bluetooth mode. That would have been really convenient. It only uses micro USB for the charger, which at this point it's sort of insulting that headphones still ship with micro USB, considering that everything has either switched to Lightning if you're buying Beats or USB-C if you're buying almost any other premium headset. And by the time these came out, USB-C was actually still very popular. Now, they did fix that with the new version, so if you want a USB Type-C charger in your headphones, version 3 has you covered. And the last downside with these headphones, which is something that Sony still hasn't figured out, is multiple device pairing. Now, I'm not expecting something as phenomenal and mind-blowing as the AirPods or the Beats wireless pairing process where it just works with anything on your Apple ID, but a lot of headphones have allowed you to pair multiple devices, and you simply pick the device in your Bluetooth settings when they're on, and it switches between them. These, you literally have to put it back in pairing mode and connect it to another device. And I've used Samsung's, I've used other Bose headphones that have just had a flawless multi-device pairing. Sony, please figure that out. They haven't even added it to the M3s. So really, those are the main things that are sort of irritating, is the headphone jack powering the device off as soon as you unplug them, the USB micro USB plug, not USB-C, and the fact that you just can't pair it between multiple devices, which I know I'm kind of not in the majority here when I say I want to pair multiple devices to my headphones, but most people at least have a computer and a phone, and it's nice to be able to pair them up in one place and then move to another and just flip-flop, and that's it. So those things need improvement. Now, I said I would talk about the equalizer later, that's now, and the equalizer is sort of unnecessary unless you really have a specific sound you're looking for. So I listen to AirPods on a pretty regular basis, and I do that mainly for convenience. I know that they do not sound nearly as good as a really premium pair of headphones like these do, but the equalizer is kind of pointless because the sound coming out of these right out of the gate is already extremely well tuned by whoever tunes them from Sony, and changing the equalizer around almost feels like you're taking away from that quality by either pushing too much bass, too much mid, too much treble, or muddling the sound in some way. So if you were to get a pair of these and download the app, which I highly recommend, the app is about half the experience for managing the noise canceling, play around with the equalizer, but at the end of the day, mine remains off all the time. I have only ever used it once, and that was on a plane, and I don't remember why I had it on. But in general, I leave it off. You should too if you get a pair of these, because the sound coming out of these is beautiful. And it stays good, unlike some Bose headphones that I've used, when the noise canceling is turned on or off. I've used Bose before, the QC25s, the QC35s, and every time you turn off the noise canceling with the QC25s or 35s, the sound for the speakers becomes a little more hollow in a way. It's almost like they tune the headphones to give you this very good sound when the noise canceling is off, but it's almost like they didn't bother to tune it properly when the noise canceling is off. When it's on, you got a good sound. When it's off, it just sounds weird. In these headphones, it genuinely sounds like Sony has tuned these to sound good with the noise canceling on or off. And let's talk about the noise canceling now. So this is sort of a dramatized version of what it sounds like when you put on a pair of these headphones for the first time. Hopefully that little bit there conveyed the message. These headphones just suck the ambient noise out of the music you're listening to, and it is awesome every time they do it. They have two options mainly for the way that you can manage the noise canceling. You can either have it on auto, where it kind of uses the microphones and a couple sensors in the headphones to figure out what you're doing, and it'll determine how much noise canceling needs to be there. But that one, again, as I said earlier, kind of bongs at you every time it goes to change, whereas leaving it on manual and picking the version you want just sets it, and you don't have to worry about any sort of adjustment or fluctuation or interrupting sounds while you're listening to music. And when it is in manual mode and you want to adjust it without having to open up the app, there is a button on the back that you can press that goes from on, ambient, and off. And ambient actually lets some of the noise through, but it still has the music playing. Off literally just turns off the noise canceling entirely. And of course, noise canceling on, it's on, and there is not a single sound coming through except for your music. And that, at the end of the day, is what I really use these for. I do travel, and I want to use them more when I travel because in airplanes, noise-canceling headphones are sort of a must, and these are perfect for that. But when it comes to just general listening, I'm the kind of person who will sit down for an hour or two at a time and just listen to music, and these are my go-tos. Because while the Beats are convenient with their power-on options, while the AirPods are nice, but not the best sounding, it's more of convenience over quality, these headphones have the best quality for the dollar that you can get right out of the gate. And I didn't have to adjust any settings. I didn't have to go and tune an equalizer. And with the noise canceling on manual all the time, they have the best way of just isolating you to your music and enjoying what you're listening to. So I highly recommend these headphones or their bigger brother, the M3s, if you guys are in the market for a pair of noise-canceling headphones. They are easily some of the best valued headphones you can buy at this time. And in terms of their big brothers, they are also an extremely good value. Yes, $350 is steep, but when it comes to $350 for these, or $350 for a pair of bows that they haven't updated in a couple years, or $400 for the new pair that are basically just doing what the Sonys have been doing for almost a year or two now, I would go with the Sonys. Anyway, guys, that's been it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please make sure to like and subscribe, the whole 9 yards. Check out, there will be some links down in the description where you can check out what I featured in this video, as well as some other things. And apart from that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Make sure to be there and have a good one.